Today we are going to begin the sixth chapter of history, that is industries and crafts. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the Indian handicraft, how they got declined under the British regime, and how it got recovered, and what are the factories they started under the British regime. Everything we are going to learn in this chapter detailedly. So let us begin the chapter. So when we talk about the Britishers, these Britishers, they came to India only to establish the trade relationship with India, but later they started annexing, conquering, invading Indian territories and grabbing Indian territories, and finally they became the Indian ruler, whole Indian ruler. They created an empire here. And when they want to rule a big empire, big land area like India, they need a very good administrative policies. So they framed policies. All those policies actually affected the Indian people and the territory. And while talking about the impacts, it actually created a very deep impact on the Indian economy by ruining the craft and cottage industries in India. If you take these craft industries before the arrival of Britishers, it was very good, and the craftsmanship from India is famous all over the world, and they were following the old traditional method of craftsmanship, and they are doing the craftsmanship for generations to generations. So they were very much professional and talent in their craftsmanship. So all because of their good quality products produced by them, because of their talent, by generation to generation, they were patroned by the rich merchants, nobles, and kings. But when this British East Indian Company, they came to India and took control over India, they actually destroyed or declined the craft and cottage industry in India. So the next heading, it is the decline of handicraft industry. So in this topic we are going to learn what are the reasons for the decline of handicraft industries. First of all, these craftsmen, they were patronized by the rich merchants, nobles, and the kings. When the Britishers, they took control over the territory of India, and the policies implemented by them actually robbed the Indian rulers' power, wealth, and prestige. So these people were no longer able to give patronage. They were no longer able to give handsome amount of money for these craftsmen to hold them under their control, to get a good product, finished goods from them for themselves. And apart from that, the industrial revolution which was created in England created a deep impact in India, because they were able to produce a large amount of finished goods at cheap rate and at a better quality than Indian products. And the other impact which was created by the Charter Act of 1813, it actually ended the monopoly of the British East Indian Company in India. So it paved the way for the other merchants, new companies to come into India to give competition to sell their products in India. So now Indian products and Indian craftsmen, they have to face a very big competition, and these Indian craftsmen, they actually doing it in the old way of traditional methods, manually looming, the weaving the products. But these Britishers, they all, because of the industrialization, they are using machineries for producing their product, which were very good in quality and cheap in cost. So they were no longer able to give competition against this machine finished goods from Britain. And also people from India, they were admired of the goods from India. They were fond of this goods from British. And apart from that, the Britishers also introduced free trade policy. This free trade is one-way free trade policies. That is, the British goods they can import without any duty. But if suppose Indians they have to export some goods for other nation, they have to pay a very heavy tax. So all these things collectively affect the handicraft industry in India. The next topic, the impact of the decline. So we learned that it created a decline in the handicraft industry. Let us see the impacts of that decline here. Okay, so initially these Britishers they were afraid of the Indian goods because Indian goods were very famous all over the world. Even in England, from curtains to bedspread to everywhere, Indian goods were taken place in their houses. Now, these Britishers they want to replace it. So, what they did is they brought many policies, they brought many changes in England that is not needed here. But in India, they implemented a very sharp policies that is one way free trade policy. One way free trade policy is whatever finished goods they are bringing from England, they can bring it into Indian economy, into Indian market without any even a single penny of tax. But these Indians have to pay a tax for selling their product here in India as well as exporting their material to foreign nations. So this created a very big negative impact in the Indian economy. What became the result of that one? The result is India become a source of raw material for the industrialization which was taken place in Britain. And also after finishing the production, they need a market to sell. So they made India into a marketplace for their finished goods. And so this kind of attitude actually remarkably destroyed or created a very big impact on the craft industries in India. And this like of industrial revolution, it is not taken place in India, but still our craftsmen were very much skilled and they were trying to survive in this condition. But slowly, all because of these Britishers' policies, these craftsmen also losing their employment, they are losing their job, and their future became bleak. And the unemployment increases. Once the unemployment increases, these craftsmen started migrating from the rural areas to the cities and they started getting employed in the industries. So this is what the impact created by the decline of the handicraft. Next topic, it is the emergence of modern Indian industries. So around 1850s and 60s, a positive step was taken in the Indian industries, all because of the implementation of small industrial machines and modern tools in the handicraft industries in few fields. This was the first step towards the development of Indian industries in India. Apart from that, these Britishers also introduced the concept of plantation in India. So, all because of the introduction of plantation in India, it created a setback for the cereal crops. So, in plantation crops, they actually produced oil seeds, sugars, sugar cane, rubber, jute, coffee, tea, indigo, etc. All those commercial crops were produced by the Indian people to recover from their current situation. So, and if you take indigo, indigo was a very vital crop. It was used for dyeing the cloths. So this crop was produced all around Bengal and Bihar, and it created a good profit initially for the farmers. And other crops like tea, it was cultivated around Assam, South India, and Bengal. And in South India, especially, rubber, cinchona, and coffee were planted all around the South India. Okay. And by the second half of the 19th century, slowly the industrialization happened in India, and this one is happened all because of the persistent demand put forth by the Indian National Congress, and all because of their demand. By 1905, the Britishers they established the Imperial Department of Commerce and Industries, and a little earlier to that, in 1880s, a famine commission was set up, and that famine commission actually recommended it is necessary to revive the cottage industries in India. So now let's see about the industries which we are developed in India. First one, we are going to talk about the textile industry. So the first textile industry, it was set up in Bombay in 1853 by Kawasji Nanabai, and later other textile industries were established in Ahmedabad, Madras, and many more places in Bombay itself. And all these industries were owned by the Indians. And this textile industries got a shot up in India in that time, all because of the availability of raw material like cotton, silk, and jute. And all because of this raw material availability, East Indian Company also exported a large amount of this raw material from India to their country to make it into the finished goods. And then Emperor's Mill was started in 1867 in Nagpur by Jamshedji Tata, and followed by that many more mills were set up in Mumbai, Nagpur, and Solapur. So this is about the textile industry. Next one, we are going to learn about the jute industry. So jute was cultivated in a large scale in Bengal. So Bengal became a center of jute industries, but all these jute industries were owned by the Britishers. And next one, coal mining industry. So coal mining industry, this one was established in the mid of the 19th century. It was started in the places like Odisha, Bengal, and Bihar, and the mined coals mostly it was used for the railways, and also iron ore smelting industries. And next one, iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry was initially developed in a slow pace, and that one was quickened by the entry of Jamshedji Tata into that field. He established the Tata Iron and Steel Company, that is called as TISCO in Jamshedpur, and after that many more iron and steel industries were established all over India, especially in Mysore and Bengal. And these iron and steel industries actually helped in the progress of the engineering industries. Next one, sugar factories. Now, around 1930, there was a rapid growth in the sugar industries, and that was the year we can mark it as the introduction of cement industries, glass, matches, paper factories, and all other factories were started in that area in that period. Okay, so the industrialization happened in India, but this industrialization is also held under the control of Britishers because they don't want the Indian industries to grow. Because if the Indian industries are going to grow, then they won't be able to do their business. They cannot export the raw material, they cannot import the finished goods, and they cannot sell it here.